Of order. We start the planning commission meeting for May 18th, 2023. We have to start with roll call, please.
Mr. Cox.
Here.
Mr. Crompton.
Here.
Mr. Heath.
Here.
Mr. Kella.
Here.
Mr. Perez.
Here.
Ms. Rohr. Here. Mr. Wunderlich.
Here.
Mr. Dillon.
Here. We have a motion to accept the last minutes, please, for someone.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Crompton.
Aye.
Mr. Heath.
Aye.
Mr. Kella.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Rohr.
Abstain.
Mr. Wunderlich.
Aye.
Mr. Cox.
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye. What do you got, Chris?
Jane.
Jane.
This is Jane, everyone.
Hi,
You're
I'm
doing it.
Jane.
I'm sorry, Jane.
First up on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding agenda items listed on the agenda. Anyone speaking on an agenda item is entitled to speak for a maximum of 4 minutes. It is not a question and answer period, and staff and the Plan Commission do not generally respond to public comments. Everything on the agenda tonight is also a public hearing, and so people can choose to speak now or during the time when the public hearing is called. Do we have anyone who would like to speak
Anyone
under
wanna speak now?
citizens?
We'll move on then.
Okay. All right, under old business public hearing, we have case A323, annexation of 0.75 acres located at 420 Rowell Avenue, classification to I-1 light industrial zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement, as well as case P523, preliminary plat of Rowell Storage Subdivision, case FP523, final plat of Rowell Storage Subdivision, case Z223, reclassification of 0.41 acres located at 414 Rowell Avenue from R2 single-family residential to I1 light industrial zoning, and V423, vacation of portions of unused 4th Avenue, Florence Street, and adjacent alley. Under general information, the applicant is Harris Investments LLC, Rowell Storage Series. The status of the applicant is owner-developer. The requested action is approval of an annexation of 0.75 acres, which is 420 Rowell Avenue, in classification to I-1 light industrial zoning. Preliminary and final plats of Rowell Storage Subdivision, reclassification of 0.41 acres to I-1 zoning, and vacations of unused rights of way. The purpose is to allow development of a self-storage facility. Under existing zoning, it is City of Joliet, I-1 light industrial, City of Joliet, R2 single-family residential, and County C6 recreation commercial. The location again of this property is 414 and 420 Rowell Avenue. The size of the properties is 8.28 acres. Existing land use is industrial and undeveloped. For surrounding land use and zoning, to the north you have industrial property and it is zoned I-1 light industrial. To the south is undeveloped county zoning, C6 recreation commercial zoning. To the east is undeveloped land and it's zoned I2, City of Joliet, general industrial. And to the west it is used as residential and zoned R2, single family residential. For site history, the subject site comprises several parcels east of Rowell Avenue at 4th Avenue and Florence Avenue. These include the existing concrete block building at 807 4th Avenue that is currently used as a maintenance building for Joliet U-Polit, which is also owned by the petitioner. The undeveloped parcel to the east, three residential lots along Rowell Avenue, and the parcel at 420 Rowell Avenue, which contains the vacant concession stand for the former Joliet Beach Club. There are no known previously approved cases for the site. The parcel at 420 Rowell Avenue and the pond parcel were included in an annexation petition in 2016 that was ultimately withdrawn. A special use permit request to allow a self-storage facility at this site is scheduled to be reviewed by the Zoning Board of Appeals at their meeting today, which they did recommend approval to the City Council. The petitioner under special information. The petitioner, Harris Investments LLC, seeks approval of the above requests in order to develop a self-storage facility at 414 Rowell Avenue near the southeast corner of Rowell Avenue and 4th Avenue. Reclassification of several parcels, vacations of unused rights-of-way and annexation of the parcel at 420 Rowell Avenue are required in order to consolidate the parcels onto one site. The preliminary and final plats include one lot for the entire 8.28 acre site. The proposed self-storage facility will consist of a main building and 14 storage unit buildings that contain an additional 558 units. The existing 12,100 square foot concrete block building will be remodeled to contain climate-controlled indoor storage. The area adjacent to the east side of this building will be paved to leave space for a potential building expansion that could include an additional 16,800 square feet. The buildings will need to comply with the requirements of the city's non-residential design standards. The attached renderings will show split face block on the exterior of the main building. Masonry material will also be required on the exterior of the south side of the south mini storage building, which is Building N. Storm detention is included at the southwest corner of the site. Site access will be from a private driveway off Rowell Avenue. The gated entrance will be accessible by key card only. Other security measures include site lighting, cameras, and fencing to enclose the perimeter of the site. Proposed hours of operation are 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. The petitioner anticipates there will be around 6 vehicle trips to the site per day. Landscaping will be required per the landscaping and screening regulations, including a 15-foot landscape area and 6-foot fence adjacent to the residential properties at the west side of the site. Landscaping will also be required along Rowell Avenue and around the storm detention area. As part of the landscape plan, the petitioner is required to complete a tree inventory and tree preservation plan that addresses the replacement of any significant trees that will be removed from the property. All public improvements will be required by Public Works and Public Utilities departments per the city's zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations. These improvements include curbs, gutters, street repaving along Rowell Avenue adjacent to the site. The Rowell Avenue right-of-way adjacent to the annexation parcel will need to be dedicated to the city. All driveway and parking areas on the site will need to be paved and curbed. A utility easement will be reserved over portions of the vacated rights-of-way as requested by the city, NICOR, and ComEd. Detachment fees have been paid for the East Joliet Fire Protection District. The redevelopment impact fee, water connection fee, and sewer connection fee, if applicable, will be required. And that concludes staff support.
Thank you. Do we have the petitioner on hand? Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name, please.
Nathaniel Washburn, 111 North Ottawa Street. I'm with KGG LLC. I'm the attorney for the petitioner, Harris Investments LLC. I think staff did a good job of summarizing what we're hoping to do here. As many of you are familiar with, the former Joliet Beach Club is a fairly difficult site to develop. It's not great land down there. There is the quarry immediately to the south of it that's currently, full of water. So we were trying to come up with a use that would best fit the area. That was heard, for the special use by zoning board for mini storage. The reason we're here is in order to clean up the site in the area. We are looking to rezone a couple of the residential lots. There's, I believe, out of those 3 lots, there's, I think, 1 house, and it's in not super great shape that they intend to demolish. Also, the location of the former concession stand still remains in unincorporated Will County. That will be the site of the detention for this project. I'm here to answer any questions, but we would hope for your vote of approval.
Just a couple. So you're buying the lots where the houses were sitting, I take it, right?
We already own the lots. The lots that are currently in yellow on the drawing that's up there, we already own those. We did approach a couple of the property owners for the residences that are on the east side of Rowell to see if they had any interest in selling. At this time, they either did not have any interest or we couldn't get to any mutually agreeable terms.
And where's your storm detention
Our
pond
storm
gonna go?
detention is going to be the area that's highlighted in green on that map. That is the
Right next to the beach club water?
What?
Right next to the beach water?
Well, it's going to be dry. It's going to be dry detention with native vegetation at the bottom. So it's not. It may be wet for a little while, but the idea is it's not going to have standing water in it. Hip high 24/7.
Somebody just mentioned that beach club to me and said something about somebody brought it or filling it in already. Is that?
So the actual quarry itself is not owned by my client. I believe it is. There's something going on with it in relation to the I-80 construction that is not being done by my client, and we don't have any involvement in that, nor do we own the actual water portion of what was the former Joliet Beach Club.
Okay. Any other questions from board members? Are there anybody just yes or no for speak against or for it in the audience? Seeing none, can I get a motion for A-3-23?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Beg your pardon?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
For all of them, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Got a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Heath,
Aye.
Mr. Kella,
Aye.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Ms. Rohr,
Aye.
Mr. Wunderlich,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Aye.
Mr. Crompton,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye. Next, Jane?
All right. Next on the agenda is case Z323, reclassification of 9.727 acres at 18651 West Manhattan Road to R1 single-family residential zoning. And case Z423, reclassification of 45.5 acres south of 18651 West Manhattan Road to R1 single-family residential zoning. The applicant in this matter is the City of Joliet. The owners are Eastgate Logistics LLC. The requested action is approval of a zoning reclassification. The purpose is to provide appropriate zoning for previously annexed property. Existing zoning is A1, which is unincorporated Will County Agricultural, and the proposed zoning, again, is R1, single-family residential. The location, again, is 18651 West Manhattan Road and south of 18651 West Manhattan Road. Size, our two parcels are 9.727 acres and 45.5 acres. Existing land use is agricultural farmstead. Surrounding land use and zoning, to the north you have agriculture and it's zoned I1 light industrial in the City of Joliet. To the south is agricultural use and it's zoned A1 in unincorporated Will County. To the east is agricultural use and it's zoned A1 unincorporated Will County. And to the west, agricultural use and zoned A1 unincorporated Will County. The subject properties were annexed into the corporate city limits of Joliet by the mayor and city council at their meeting on April 18th. Under special information, this petition by the city is seeking approval for zoning reclassification to R1 single-family residential zoning district for two previously annexed parcels. The properties were not classified with zoning at the time of the recent annexations. The petitions through Plan Commission and City Council classifying the properties to R1 zoning district will satisfy requirements of the annexation by designating the properties to the most similar city zoning for their current agricultural uses. These properties will provide contiguity to the remaining Eastgate Logistics Park holdings, approximately 919.4 acres that were part of the amended and restated annexation and development agreements approved in December of 2021. The 9.727 acres and 45.5 acres subject properties in question are now owned by the Eastgate Logistics LLC. There are no current development plans identified for these subject parcels at this time. The previously approved conceptual site plans are attached as a general depiction of the potential development of the Eastgate property in this area. The concept site plans are not intended to and do not constitute any variances, waivers, or modifications of any zoning, subdivision, water, or sanitary sewer, land use, or construction requirement of the city. Similarly, the conceptual site plans do not impair or restrict the property or development rights of the owner. And that concludes staff report.
Thanks, Jane. Do we have a petitioner on hand for this?
We're the petitioner for it.
We are? Any questions from anyone? Any in the audience for speaking against or for it? Can I get a motion for Z-3-23 and Z-4-23?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Wunderlich?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
Aye.
Mr. Heath?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda is case PUD 623, the preliminary planned unit development of Riverwalk Homes. Under general information, the applicant is Riverwalk Homes LLC. Status of the applicant is owner, and the requested action is approval of a preliminary planned unit development for Riverwalk Homes. The purpose is to allow the redevelopment of Riverwalk Homes, including the demolition of 4 existing apartment buildings. The existing zoning for this property is R5, which is multifamily residential, and B1 neighborhood business. The location is 350, 358, 362, 363, 366 North Broadway Street, and 300 to 301, 311, 316 North Bluff Street. The size of the property is 9.7 acres. The existing land use is multifamily residential. Under surrounding land use and zoning, to the north is residential use and it's zoned R3, 1 and 2 family residential, as well as R5. To the south is residential and institutional use, and it's zoned R2, single family residential, as well as R5. To the east is the Des Plaines River and commercial property zoned B2, central business. And then to the west is residential uses zoned R2 and R3. Under site history, the subject site contains the Riverwalk Homes multifamily housing complex. The development, which was built around 1969, was known as Evergreen Terrace from the mid-1880s until 2017, when it became Riverwalk Homes. The city legally obtained ownership of the property in 2016 after a lengthy process which included a settlement agreement with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. As part of this agreement, the city was required to form a third-party entity to own and operate the complex. In 2016, the city entered into an operating agreement with Holston Real Estate Development Corporation to establish Riverwalk Homes LLC, which would own, manage, and redevelop the property. The city had previously engaged Holston to provide services related to the redevelopment of the property, including a redevelopment plan. In 2018, after reviewing several redevelopment scenarios, the City Council passed a resolution authorizing Holston to begin the process of reducing the number of housing units from 356 to 177 units. To carry out this redevelopment plan, Holston has now submitted a preliminary planned unit development and accompanying materials for review. As part of the project's financing, Riverwalk Homes LLC is currently applying for the federal low-income housing tax credit program administered by the Illinois Housing Development Authority. The planned unit development will fulfill the zoning requirement for this application. Under special information, the preliminary planned unit development for Riverwalk Homes outlines the planned redevelopment of the existing multifamily residential complex, which is located on Broadway Street and Bluff Street north of Western Avenue. In order to carry out the chosen redevelopment option and reduce the number of units within the complex, the redevelopment proposal includes the demolition of 4 of the 8 existing buildings. The proposal also includes moderate interior and exterior renovations, including upgrading 36 units to meet accessibility standards, replacing the windows and roofs, upgrading building entrances to be ADA compliant, and resurfacing and restriping the parking lots. A terrace plaza is proposed in the central area between the remaining buildings where Building B is currently located. A full construction narrative is included as an attachment. The plans show that Building B, which is 362 North Broadway Street, and buildings F, G, and H, which is 300 to 301, 311, and 316 North Bluff Street, will be demolished. The remaining buildings are Building A, which is 358 North Broadway Street, Building C, which is 366 North Broadway Street, and Building D, 363 North Broadway Street, which contain 71, 64, and 42 units respectively. Building floor plans and unit counts for these buildings will remain the same. Building E, which is 350 North Broadway Street, contains the offices and community space that serve the development. An upgraded 2,470 square foot community room is proposed within this building. The developer is required to submit a planned unit development application for the redevelopment of the site because a PUD is required for multifamily developments within the R5 zoning district. The previously approved redevelopment scenario, which reduces the number of units from 356 to 177, will not be changed. No new buildings are being constructed. The development will continue to provide low-income housing and offer resident services. The application states that if the petitioner is awarded the low-income housing tax credit financing, construction is anticipated to take 18 months and be completed in mid-2025. Holston is providing relocation services to Riverwalk Homes residents to permanently relocate 179 units and to temporarily relocate the remaining residents during the period of construction. No public improvements are required for this proposal. Building permits will be required for all demolition and remodeling work. The petitioner, has submitted site plans, floor plans, landscape plans, civil plans, and a plat of survey along with the planned unit development. Other supplementary documents submitted include a construction narrative, a financial plan, a marketing plan, and a zoning analysis. A final PUD for this development will need to be submitted at a future date. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, Jane. Do we have the petitioner on hand?
Good afternoon.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your name.
My name is Peter Holston. I am president of Holston Real Estate Development Corporation. We've been in business 48 years. And as stated, we became a partner with the city of Joliet in 2007 and are following the directive from the ordinance of 2008. We applied for low-income housing tax credits and other funding from Illinois Housing Development Authority in February of this year. We will hear if we will be getting funded in June 19th coming up. We have an affiliate nonprofit organization that does resident services and was very much involved with the city in creating a food pantry that's very actively used by the residents of Riverwalk as well as Joliet and Will County.
Do you, I think correct, you guys are gonna help the people that are being displaced?
That is correct.
How would that work?
Okay, presently all 356 units have a what's called project-based Section 8, the Section 8 that stays with the property. The residents that are to be permanently relocated will get a Section 8 voucher. So they will continue paying 30% of their income as a maximum, with the voucher covering the rest. Our resident services organization and our management organization will be working with the city of Joliet on locating suitable housing in the Joliet area, elsewhere in Will County, and wherever else the residents might want to relocate to.
And then, once you guys get the project completed, they're allowed to come back then to the new stuff?
There'll be 177 relocated units, and they will those that will be temporarily relocated. Yes, they will be able to come back. Those that are permanently relocated will go on a priority wait list for those units, as we do have turnover.
See. Any other questions from board members?
Yes, I have one. When you put into your agreement with the city, there was a 20-year plan. And I noticed on your finances, you have to, hold these buildings for 30 years. How are you going to do that?
The tax credit financing awarded from Illinois Housing Development Authority requires a 30-year affordability period. The tax credits allow us to bring in a partner, usually a large bank or other large organization, and they buy the tax credits. That's how we get our equity to do the work. The affordability period is an initial period of 15 years with that tax credit partner. After that period of time, we will do another tax credit arrangement to obligate the extended use agreement, which is for the additional 15 years. The Section 8 contract that we will get from HUD has an initial term of 20 years, and that can be renewed. So we'll have to renew it for another 15 years to satisfy the affordability requirements of the tax credits.
But if your agreement's only for 20 years, you know, what are you gonna do at the end of 20? You know, I mean, right now, we're 5 into it, you only have 15 left.
Actually, the 20 years starts at the point that we finish the construction and the first people move in.
So you haven't started yet.
Okay, so, no, we have not started that yet. The present Section 8 arrangement is a year at a time, because HUD realized that this was gonna take more time than they thought for us to get all the financing put together and do the rehab. So they are allowing us to renew the Section 8 contract a year at a time, and then at the point where we're finished with construction, then we can do a 20-year contract, which will take us out to 20 of the 30 years. And going beyond that, we have to go back to HUD and get another 10 or 20-year contract. It would not be feasible for HUD to walk away from that, because then the folks that are living in the development will not be able to pay the rent. So in my almost 40 years of experience, actually 48 years of experience, I've never seen a HUD contract not get renewed, certainly if the developer owner wants it renewed.
Any other questions from the board? Is there anybody here that wishes to speak for this or against it? Approach the mic, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name, please.
Chantel Hare, and I'm a resident of Riverwalks, and I'm all for it. The redevelopment, the knocking down, all of that, because just like a week ago, it was a shooting in the building. We have kids that live there, people that not supposed to be there, like the conditions is not safe, and I feel like us having this opportunity to go somewhere for our kids to have a better chance, a better environment, it's great. I'm all for it. I'm like with my sister as far as everything, like, this is circumstances and the situations that we do too, because this is the only low-income housing that's around for like multi-families outside of the housing units that they have to like work and be like working families. So I feel like us getting the Section 8 vouchers will give us a chance to move to a different part of town, a different city, and a better school education, better opportunities to be more blended in the communities, in different environments for our children, instead of them being sustained to those situations and conditions.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name and speak into the mic, please.
Damon Stunich, longtime local resident. And I totally, wholeheartedly agree with her that those units should be able to move out. I wholeheartedly believe every single one of those units, those families should be able to move out of that area on a long-term basis. Where I have a problem is the history of this project and a history of all the people who have managed it since it was built. Back in 1980, they had to rebuild it. The city council had the chance to do something with it then. They allowed a out-of-town developer to come in, and within I'm gonna say 8 years, the city and the local residents wanted to change that. They wanted to get out of the Evergreen Terrace. There's been a long, long history of wanting to get rid of Evergreen Terrace. The city finally did that in 2006, but even before that, there was a plan for redevelopment of the near west side. In that plan, they had not just the city, not just the developer, but they included, I believe, the University of St. Francis, the Diocese of Joliet. They included the community. 5 years ago, when we questioned the plan that Holston put forth, we felt like we weren't listened to. They had their plan and they're going to stick with it, and that's that. We have a whole new city council now. We have 5 new members. This is such a big decision for Joliet. I think this plan needs to be tabled, revisited by the city attorneys and outside attorneys. We want that date that we all agreed to, or the city agreed to back in, I believe it was 2016, that it was going to be a 20-year deal. Now I'm hearing 20 from now, or from 2.5 years from now, but maybe it's 30, maybe it's 35. It's never ending. I think the city needs to look at this again. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Left-handed. I do.
Speak right into the mic, please. State your name, please.
I do. My name's Jeff Pritz, third generation city residents near West Side. And yeah, there's lots of folks. I couldn't agree more with what this woman said as well. The opportunity for folks to move into other neighborhoods, less crime, safer areas is very much so what this is all about. You can see there's quite a few residents from the near west side here that have lots of concern around what this new proposal is going to look like. One of my questions was going to be exactly as Mr. Culla asked, what does this timeline look like? Because back in 2016, it was agreed upon and dictated by the federal government that it was a 20-year agreement. And with all due respect to Mr. Holstein, there was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of ums in how he was going to try and explain that. To be fair, if Mr. Keller wouldn't have asked that question, that would have not come up today, right? It would not have come up today. And so I think it's prudent, and we would ask that maybe one of the questions going to the council before any type of movement is done is, what does that look like? We agreed on 20 years for those 2015 units in 2016. To be fair to the city residents in that area, that date needs to stay. That date needs to stick. That's what we agreed to. And now in the 11th hour, or 5 years after something was supposed to get started, now there's a new date that we're talking about. And this is going to go on to the next generation. I'm an old guy, and this thing started when I was a pretty young guy in that neighborhood. And now we're just going to kick that can down the road even farther to the next generation. I would ask you, just like the woman in the meeting prior to this, look at what's right for the city. Look at what's right for the citizens of the city in that neighborhood. And please ask the city council to look at this clearly and make sure they understand before we agree on anything. Is that date, 20 years from May of 16, the actual date where this is gonna end? And if it's not, we need to rethink that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we could, Chris, for the record, because we didn't see the paperwork originally, when they say 20 years, was it when they started building it, or when they completed building it, or when they started 2016? Just for the record.
According to the HAP contracts, it's upon completion of redevelopment.
So until it's all completed and done, that's when the 20 years start.
That's accurate. It's important to keep in mind. We got to clear up a few things here. This plan, this is what we're looking at right now. This was approved by the Joliet City Council in 2018. And so this is the plan that we're stuck with. The only reason we're discussing it now in 2023 is because the expected funding did not come to fruition. So we're going through a new round of funding. They're coming here for the PUD, like their contract with us says they have to do. They're in compliance with their agreement. I understand that might not be an ideal situation or what everybody wants, but this was the agreement that we made, and we need to hold up our end of the agreement.
Yeah, but for the record, the 20 years start when the house is finally built.
Yes, and
Not,
that,
not 2016. Okay, just we gotta start end date then, okay.
the plan commission's not gonna change that, and neither
No, we
is the
can't, no,
Joliet
I
City
just like
Council.
clarification, so anybody out there has it too.
So again, with all due respect, I understand where you're coming from, but this document from the city says something different. This document from the city says in May 3rd of 2016, and the paragraph goes on to say 20 years, no more than 20 years.
Which document is that?
Do you care if I give this to him? That's where there's just a little bit of indecision and a little gray, and we just want to make sure that we understand. I will tell you, the residents of the near west side did not understand that piece. They understood when it was agreed upon in 2016, it was 20 years from that date. That was the information that was given. So now this
He
is
says it changes
new
next page
information.
over.
Thank you.
So it is the completion of it still, right?
Yeah,
Is there anyone else should speak for it or against it? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, ma'am.
Yes, I do.
You state your name, please, and speak into
Trudy
the mic.
Mills. My name is Trudy Mills.
Pull that mic a little close, I can hear you.
I said my name is Trudy Mills.
It's better, okay?
My complaint is basically like they gonna remodel and everything like that, but we have black mold over there, and that's a health condition. I'll stay in the hospital from that. So if you remodeling and you're not tearing down where this black mold and stuff coming from, you're gonna rebuild over it and it's still gonna grow there. So what about the health for me and people that's much older than me, and then our little kids that's got to come up?
If you're tearing the building down, it's not gonna be any black mold, it's gonna be gone, I would
But they
think.
not tearing the building down, they just remodeling.
You wanna answer that question then, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, we have an ongoing mold problem, and we keep addressing it. But we have roof leaks and tuck pointing leaks and other leaks, and we're just patching and trying to
Speak more into the mic, please.
patching and get rid of it. The mold will be professionally abated. That means that how deep the removal has to be, that's depending on how bad the mold is. But it will be taken down to, as far as it goes, to get rid of it. We're not just gonna, on the buildings we're gonna keep, we're not just gonna drywall over it. It's gonna be taken away.
Okay. Any other, one else usually speak? Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, not but the truth?
Yes,
You state your name and speak into the mic.
Erica Smith.
Speak a little closer to the mic, please.
Erica Smith. I agree with a lot of my residents and things like that. Yes, we have a mold problem. It's a lot of problems that we go to the office about, no help, no maintenance. In my building, I have small children. It's a lot of babies, newborns. It is mice infected. I didn't got videos of actual deers in the back before children get out of school. It's terrible. Like others brought up, is random guests walking through that not supposed to be on property. Security does not check on us to make for our safety. It has been a lot of shooting. Kids don't, like, we have a park in the front, but they got the park closed, so no children can play. They playing in the back, which is when you come right over the bridge, a lot of cars coming flying, things like that. Actually, not about 2 years ago, young teenage boy, like 20, he actually killed himself with a car accident in front of my window. Like, my patio was on fire, very unsafe there. It's just so much there where we live. We asking for so much help and we're not getting none whatsoever. We need better saving for us children. Our children needs the best housing than us. It's not about us, it's about the children, like they said, and better living for them. So That's as much as I can say, because it's all for them. It's not about us and how we're thinking. It's about the children, their safety in better community. The community there is not good for no one. If you guys was to visit there, it's trash. You're not gonna like it. You're gonna turn around. It's no help whatsoever.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Seeing done, do I have a
Mr. Chairman?
motion?
Oh, somebody's got the.
You got someone? Yes, come on up, ma'am. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
You state your name and speak into the mic.
Shelva Dickerson.
And
I'm just speaking on behalf of, like everybody was saying, their kids or whatever. I have an 8-year-old. I don't even let him go outside because there's so much that's going on. I mean, I let him play in the house. That's as safe as he gonna be. You know, so, but we're going outside playing or whatever with other kids, no. You know, they might think I'm being mean, but no. You know, that's as safe as it's gonna be for him. He's only 8 years old. I don't need nobody that's coming around, you know, coming off Castro Bridge, turning in real fast and hit him. You know, or either shoot him because of a mistake. And a gun ain't got no name on it. So, that's it.
okay, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Anyone else? Do we have a motion for PUD 6-23? We got somebody else?
Oh, good.
We have questions?
Yes, I didn't see you down there. Speak up. I heard your radio go off, but.
Yeah, well, anyway. I've got a question for the city, and whether this is a good project or a bad project. A PUD, who monitors the PUD to make sure they're in compliance?
You can answer that.
City staff does in the planning, engineering, building.
Because I know of a few PUDs that were not in compliance, and it was brought to the city, and nothing ever happened about it. Met with the mayor, former mayor, and former city managers, and it's still out there, non-compliant. So that's my only, and if you want to know about it, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
I have a quick question. Maybe can you quickly walk me through the relocation process? How are you determining who is keeping the voucher, who is getting relocated, and maybe what organizations you're working with in what counties to relocate?
Yes, we are, we're gonna get more specific about relocation once we know whether or not we're gonna be funded. But there'll be two types of relocation. There'll be temporary and permanent because we have to reduce the density. Who goes and who stays, we're not sure how we're gonna do that. We were kicking around maybe a lottery of the entire place, and then see who gets to stay and who gets to go, or the buildings that are gonna be taken down, maybe those people would be relocated. We have not decided on the way to do it.
Yeah, my only concern that I have as I look at the plans is that it looks as if that the units that are being torn down are mostly family units. They're the 3 bedrooms, and they're not being replaced really. Because I think it was building, was it F or G, one of them, or no, yeah, I think it was maybe F. But it's majority 3-bedroom apartments, but then the other ones only have like 1 or 2. I think it had 10 in there. So, you know, I'm just worried about, you know, homeless children.
Understood. What's our final unit distribution when we're done? How many 1s, 2s, and 3s?
Yes, so
You want to stand up here? This is unit Ty.
Oh, yeah, actually, I do see it here at the bottom. It does have the total, 7164. And it looks like 3 bedrooms is a total of 2? No. 2?
Where's the total? Over here?
Too small to see. I can't.
And what do we have?
3 bedrooms.
Oh, are those,
We have
oh,
13.
so it's
Okay,
building
so
A,
we
B,
have-
C, D. That's all the
13.
buildings though, right? That's not
Yeah.
the ones being taken out.
Yeah, we have 13
There we go, it goes to 7.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever worked on a project like this before, or can you give us any inkling how these people, I mean, I understand that you don't have a plan and you're thinking about ways to do it. Have you ever done a project like this where you've had to relocate people?
Yes, we are right in the middle of rehabbing a building in Chicago where we relocated 380 single individuals temporarily. Prior to that, we did a 170-unit renovation of family housing on the west side of Chicago, and we relocated those folks temporarily, and those that wanted to come back came back. We did a relocation in the village of Riverdale at near 138th and Halsted. Those were moved into temporary relocation or permanent, their choice. And then those that wanted to come back came back. This is a different type of situation because we're being told to de-densify. So, you know, it's not going to be easy. And we are in discussions with the planning department because there will be some Section 8 left over, and perhaps that can go towards finding more large units.
So, one last question I have is, as you are replacing these vouchers with current residents, because you're temporarily or permanently relocating them, are you going to be working only with Will County? Are you going to be working with other counties?
For the permanent relocation, well, actually for all relocation, but for the permanent relocation, our resident services affiliate, who is done these other relocations, they sit down with each household and talk about where they'd like to go. Okay. And I'm assuming that a lot of them would like to stay in the immediate area, and it's up to us to go find them at least one or two choices. That's our duty.
Okay.
Are there any other questions from any of the board members?
Somebody found their ones.
Do we have a question, Matt?
Yes, okay. I don't know, I ain't the smartest person in the world, but as he just stated, he said that we all have our own individual vouchers. So being that it's called considered, in a different state, it's called scattered housing, where everyone in these units have their Section 8 voucher currently, right now. This is what's covering our market rent, which is the rent there is $1,000 for studio to $1,200, $1,300 for a 3-bedroom. Some people are working families. I feel as if instead of doing a lottery, you have people which is called seniority, people that's been living there longer than other people who hasn't had problems, and you got working families that actually get up and go to work that doesn't mind paying their 30%. So the fact of the matter, you have people that can't afford to get their Section 8 and move to a house where they can pay lights, gas, water, and all those utilities. They don't have the funding for that. So the ones who don't, those the ones, you know, you offer to, hey, you can still stay here in the 30% where you pay lights only. You ain't got to worry about, you know, doing that. And versus the ones that are working and have the funds and got kids that's living in, like me. I'm in a 1-bedroom with a 14-year-old sleeping in my living room with a bed in the living room, and me and my daughter sharing a room. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not accommodations for people that's been there longer than other people, and they steady moving people in, accommodating them before they accommodate the ones that is living there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if we have vouchers already, technically, why can't we relocate to somewhere else that accept the vouchers in another city or state if we have it, if we want to relocate before they start redeveloping and give the opportunities to somebody else during that chance? Why hold us back, hinder us from moving forward because you want to keep the voucher for these apartments that y'all not obtaining, they're not maintaining, they get paid nice amount of money to clean, to do their counseling or whatever, but they're not doing nothing for nothing. They're not doing nothing. They're not fixing anything.
Can we get clear? I mean, just to answer her question quickly, once again, quickly. I've got a daughter from daycare I have to get, so quickly. My question is, these are just different types of vouchers, right? Like they're the type, that's the reason why it's a property where you hold the voucher as opposed to a voucher that somebody has that they can then travel with. It's two different types of vouchers, is that correct?
Yes, this is called project-based Section 8. It stays with the building.
Yeah.
When they are relocated, those that are going to be relocated permanent, HUD is going to give them a housing choice voucher that stays with the person. The whole thing about affording utilities and other things, they pay electric right now, but they get a utility allowance that's supposed to compensate them for the cost of their electric bill. If they move somewhere where they'd have to pay the heat or the electric for like air conditioning or something like that, if they had to pay for water, depending on which utilities the relocatees will have to pay, HUD will adjust.
They'll subsidize part of that.
They'll subsidize that, yeah.
So that should answer your question.
The buildings that you're in a rehab are F, I don't have it on my screen here. What were they? F, G, H, and B, right?
B, H,
Those are
G,
tear
and
downs.
To be removed.
The ones that are darker in color are the ones that
Yeah,
will
they're being torn down. So now,
they'll be removed.
all those vouchers, and then people in all those places, they get to move wherever the vouchers, wherever they want.
Yeah, they will get a voucher. They can move wherever they want. My understanding is, say they wanted to move to Minneapolis, we would have to contact the Minneapolis Housing Authority to see if the Minneapolis Housing Authority has the money to support that voucher.
Okay, and then the C, A, E, and D, you're gonna redo.
Yeah, those will be rehab. And if the residents have to be relocated temporarily off-site, then we will completely subsidize that through our development budget.
But you're gonna do each building separately at one at a time, I'm assuming.
Yes, yes.
So that
Yes.
E has to go maybe someplace, but then 5 months later, the E can come right back.
Yeah, conceivably, I think it's be the second one in the row of three. After those residents are permanently relocated, we could use that as clean it up and make it, livable. But we can use that where if we did next one to A, we would move A into B, do A, and then rehab A, and then they would go back to A. So
Okay.
that one could be used as
And just for the record,
on-site.
which buildings have mold in them? All of them?
all of them.
All of them?
All of them. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Not, various degrees of it, but the leaking roofs, the leaking tuck pointing, the lintels, over the windows. And we're chasing our tail. We deal with them, 2 or 3 at a time. But to do it all right today, we have the money to do it if that's, but we have been in every single unit. We've identified the mold. We are going around and treating the worst first. It's going to be an ongoing project. We are patching the roofs. We're patching the tuck pointing. We're getting rid of the source of the water. A lot of the exhaust fans were broken, and we're not pulling the air out of the units like they're supposed to be
But
doing.
you're just basically rehabbing this thing. You're not tearing the building down and rebuilding a new building.
That's correct. But we're gonna abate all the environmental issues, and we're gonna give new kitchens, new baths, new floor coverings, common areas all redone.
What's gonna go in the space of F, G, and H, and B then?
Nothing. Raw land. A bit, grass that'll be mowed and whatever, but
It'd probably be more expensive if you tear them down to rebuild a building one at a time and then tear down that other buildings that are left. And now you won't have no mold. They're all brand new,
yeah.
all nice.
Well, the plan that was accepted by the city was retain 177 units. We put a application in to get the funding for that. If we're talking more or less units, then we've got another 2-year period of putting it in, waiting for the result, all that type of thing. So I guess it's just long.
You think it's gonna be another 2 years before you can start with this then?
If we did a new application on a different site plan, we do a preliminary application in October of the year. If they like it, then, so that would be October of '23. If they like it, we go to a full application in February of '24, wait for June of '24 to hear. By the end of '24, start work into '25 and '26 as far as delivery.
Maybe then, right?
Yes.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed, no.
Because you still got to get the funding from the
We
government.
got to get the funding, and we feel we have a really good chance, but the first time around, we didn't make it. So now we're doing it, we did it a second time. Next month, we'll hear. We're hoping, like, you know what, that we get funded so we can move ahead with this.
Okay.
Can you address the vacant lots that are gonna be left over again? Are those gonna be, like sodded over? Are they gonna be on, are they gonna be like on concrete slabs that are gonna be left over?
No, the demolition will not leave a slab. The slab will be removed as well. The hole, there's no basement, so it's a slab. The hole that's left from removing the slab will be filled in, and then it'll be sodded. And it's really up to the city what they'd like to see on that long strip along the river. I've heard inklings of maybe extend the park from that south of it, extend it through there. The building on the grounds that shows the meandering pathway and all that type of stuff, that's in place of Building B. You know, that would be the site plan at the end of the day. The playground and the beds for the vegetable garden, we're still showing those on that piece along the river, but if needed, those can be relocated.
Well, there's not gonna be as many kids, so maybe.
Well, it'll be less folks, but there'll still be a good amount of children.
A community garden, so all the residents could have a little piece of property to grow. You're not throwing a throw a pool in there too, are you?
I'm sorry?
You're gonna put a pool in too? That'd be nice, a little pool for the kids.
Yeah.
On the road.
I know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just a 5-second comment.
Yes, sir, go ahead, one more. Up to the mic.
I think in all fairness, folks, what we really need to think about is you've heard exactly what the condition of the units are.
Yeah,
this has
disgusting.
been going on since day one. The reality is you just heard, yeah, we have a mold, it's in every, we have all these issues, and you also heard we have the money to fix them. So my question is, why can't we handle the density issue with the 4 buildings and begin to move that forward and utilize the money that has been made over all these years where we haven't done anything, like every other building owner in the city has to do, and repair the buildings to where they're appropriate?
I would suggest to you to go see the city council when this comes up and speak to them, because they have the authority and the control. We don't decide that kind
No,
of
I'm
stuff.
just asking as you move forward with a recommendation to the city. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? One more time, anybody else? Anybody in the board? Nobody, I don't see nobody nowhere. Do I have a motion for PUD 6-23? And what is the motion?
So moved.
Second,
To approve, I take it?
to approve.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Wonderlich?
Nay.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Crompton?
No.
Mr. Heath?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
No.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
5-3.
All right, moving on the agenda, under new business, we have none. Under old business, new business not for final action or recommendation, we have none. Next section is public comments. Is there anyone in the room wishing to speak on non-agenda items? If you choose to, it's ready? Okay, I see none. Next would be adjournment.
Motion for adjournment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
I